Embrace the Journey, 643 podcast. Tyler Tolve in the house, 2018 alumni. T. Tolve, Ty, Tolve, Swiss Army knife. The another ultimate competitor, a great communicator, just an awesome guy all around. Catcher, leader, current pro with the Braves after his days at Kennesaw State and Sprayberry High School. Man, I could go on and on, but I'm just glad we got you here, man. Tyler Tolve, what is happening?
I appreciate it. Excited to be here. Excited to chat it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, our intro gets longer every time, but you're the man. You're looking good. How you feeling today?
Feeling good. Feeling good. Excited to be here. Been swinging it here, catching camps, doing everything I can while I'm home.
I love it. No, it's been great working with you and getting to see you around so much. You're a light every time you pop up in this place. I mean, is it kind of weird coming back here since you were, 9 years old? You were playing here originally, right?
Yeah, since Larry Bell days, which people probably don't know what that is, but
oh my gosh.
Yeah, when did aviation open up? 2011?
That sounds right, because I want to say 11 probably 2010, 2011. So you practiced at Larry Bell, but then we're playing games over here, I'm guessing.
Practiced at Larry Bell for the first year or two, and then would play here as well.
What is your earliest memory of 643 besides Larry Bell?
Oh, man.
Do you remember the first tryout you were at?
Not the first tryout. I remember showing up at Larry Bell, and there was a cricket game going on, and we had to kick them off the field so we could play some defense. But other than that, earliest memory here would just be doing rundowns on Field 3 with Freddy and Pralgo and all those guys.
Man, John Freddy, Danny Pralgo, still staples in the organization. Crazy to think that they've been doing this that long, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been able to play with, obviously, you and Max, but then also all three of the 40 kids who have rolled through here I've either coached or played with. It's pretty cool to see them all grow up.
It's special, man. It's special. Now, this is a crazy question off the rip. Can you go in your memory bank and name off every year the team and coach you had?
Oh, man. 9U, 10U with Danny on the Cougars.
Yep.
11U Jags with Coach Freddy. 12U Jags with Freddy. 13 Cougs with Danny. 14 Cougs with Taylor Hightower.
Go.
I skipped 15s and played 16s with Sterling.
Yep.
And then 17s 2 or 3 times with Danny.
Felt like 6 times.
Yeah. From the time I was 14 through graduating high school, I played on Danny's 17s at least a few weeks out of the year.
Because you were young for your grade, right? You had that birthday where you could play with the 2019s, but you were 2018. You're like the youngest,
Yep.
right?
Very young.
Do you think that was good for you in the long run?
Oh, absolutely. If I could recreate it, I wouldn't have it any other way. Helps me now that I'm playing against guys that are both older and younger than me. It just prepared me and exposed me to that at a young age.
Yeah, you see kids these days super mental about that. You even see people, and I'm sure you know in coaching a little bit, that are, 8-year-old, let's say it's a 16-year-old playing with 14-year-olds because they reclass the other way. Why do you think that is flipped? I know this is, kind of off the riff question again, but why do you think that is flipped? And again, what are the pros of playing up? I know you just said it, probably the mindset of just, I can play with anybody, or?
Yeah, I think parents get a little nervous about their kid not being either physically ready or not able to play with kids that are a lot older than them.
Mm-hmm.
But then the kids themselves, they're not ready to embrace not being the biggest, fastest, strongest, and finding another edge to their game. I know when I was really young, I was 13 going into high school, having to play against, like, Tucker Breen was a senior who's still coaching here, and him and I had no business being on the same ball field because he was so much better than I was at that point. But having to pick up the speed as quickly as possible and learn how to play on 60-90, because I didn't play on 60-90 till I got to high school.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good point. No, I mean, you're definitely mature for your age. As long as I can remember, you were very even keel, very calm. Like when we were 16 with Mang, I was in the 16 Jags. I remember you and Buddy as 14s coming up to play with us. And I think Mang threw you guys at the top of our order, and we didn't bat an eye. Like everyone's like, nope, yep, these guys can hang. And they're acting like they're supposed to be here. So
I remember showing up, and I hadn't played outfield in like year and a half, 2 years, and was playing left field for like 4 or 5 straight games for you guys, and just get thrown into the fire. But it was fun.
Best way to learn sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
So you played catcher primarily, as you still do now, but tell everyone listening, what positions did you play at 643 from the start?
Man, I think I've had at least a full game's worth at every position at 643, except for being on the mound. But like played shortstop, came over to 643, and there was 20 shortstops on the first team, so we all got divided up. I started catching at 9 and 10, and then I think every single year I just started catching a little bit more. I love playing third, second. right field, all over. But every single year, it seemed like I would just catch a little bit more.
Did you drop down or do a knucksy or something on the bump at one point? Am I crazy?
I tried, but it was all bad on the mound.
Just wasn't for you there.
No, not for me.
Just rake and play defense wherever they need you, right?
Yeah, hit, run, go play some defense.
And how valuable has that been for you in your career, whether it's high school, college, pros? Like, have you seen playing all those positions show up? Or
Oh, it's the best thing that could have happened for me. Even in college, I was going to play left field and tried to even play a little bit of third base, but I was going to play some left field. And I got, 10 or 15 starts out there, but that was where it looked like I was going to play until, I ended up just catching. So super thankful for that. I even have some innings in pro ball in the outfield, which I never would have thought.
Sure.
But I got one game out there, and you just never know what keeping the athleticism, keeping the opportunity can do for you.
If you hit, you don't sit.
That's right.
And you can hit. Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate
So one team to talk about. We'll just talk about a couple of teams because that's a lot of years of 6'4" teams. We can't hit them
yeah.
all, but if you look right behind you here, I see 2011 Cooperstown National Championships right above this beautiful fire extinguisher that stayed in the cut. Freddy's a little uncomfortable looking at it. It's all good. We're authentic people. Talk about that run and that team. For those that don't know, Cooperstown originally was 10U and 12U. And really, I feel like, you tell me, it was best suited for 10U because the field was more true versus 12U is almost home run derby, whatever
100%.
happens. But
We were
talk about
actually
that team. Yeah.
We were the last 10-year-old team to ever win Cooperstown. We went on the last week that they ever had 10s.
That's right.
And the most important memory I have from Cooperstown is the night before we ever played a game. We went out as a team. Danny took us out to the championship field. We sat in the bleachers, and it's the first time we ever pictured ourselves winning. And it's the first time I really did that, where if you can envision success and see what it looks like before you ever step on the field, when you're actually in the moment, it's not the first time you've been there. And that's something I've still stuck with me throughout my entire career. When we go on the road to a stadium I've never been to, I try to find a bleacher 10, 15 rows deep, go sit, behind the on-deck circle and just envision what a good game looks like, how I can help my pitchers, what a double in the gap looks like. And when you can see all these things and visualize the success, when you do it, it's not the first time. And you don't know, you're not lost.
Sure.
The game doesn't speed up on you.
That's incredible insight. And Danny definitely has a knack for like road trips doing that. I remember, I think our team too, because we went 2 years before you guys at 10 and we got second place. But I think it was, I remember probably similar, like sitting there and he goes, all right, everyone close your eyes. It was dark. He said,
Yep.
Do you see it? We're running around. We just turned into a play. Now we're dogpiling. Do you guys see it? And it's like, it sounds corny to people watching, but I'm sure with what level you're at with the best guys you're facing, how big failure is. I mean, visualization and that manifestation piece, it's real, right?
Yeah, even at 10 years old, I was like, what are we doing? Like this doesn't matter. It's not what's going to happen. And sure enough, like that situation happens. We win the game 5-0. We dogpile exactly how we talked about it. And from that point on, it just was like, wow, the baseball gods are real, for one. And two, if you can visualize something and then you chase it and you practice and you work hard enough, whatever you want to happen can happen.
So glad you brought that up. It's such a cool, I get almost goosebumps right now, like thinking back to that stuff, because it's real, man. It's definitely real in all facets of life. So all those different coaches, all those different teams, is there one or two coaches that stood out to you particularly? And I know it's tough to say that. We're not trying to short sight anybody, but are there one or two that you had, you feel like made a huge impact on you, whether that's as a catcher, as a leader, are there a couple of guys that stick out the most and why?
Yeah, as a catcher, it would probably be Taylor Hightower, because he was the first guy that really taught me the ins and outs of behind the position, why it was so important, really helped me like completely fall in love with being a leader back there. Mm-hmm. And then from a coaching perspective, obviously you had Danny, who was just unbelievable, but as a personal development role, it'd probably be John Forty.
For sure.
I mean, his ability to get the most out of his players every single year from an effort standpoint and understanding what it means to go at 110% is really special.
I've begged him to be our mental performance coach. And he's a busy guy. He has a lot of avenues, chiropractor, does some stuff, and real estate, other things. But I'm like, dude, if we could get you talking to at least our teams, like one team, one time per year, like, in each age group, I think could move mountains with that.
Yeah,
guy.
I'm good for probably one phone call at midnight every single season when things are going bad, and he's always able to help me turn it around.
No doubt. Just an awesome human being. Great coach, great leader, but just an awesome human being. And same with me, man. I've had some obstacles in life, on the field, off the field, that I know I can go to 40 and he's going to be there for me. So
Absolutely.
No, love it. Shout out Will, shout out Jake, shout out Ben, all his kids. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So which one, you said you've experienced all of them. Is there one you're closest with? You know, I know it's different relationships, you know, and there's a teammate, a player, like, is there one you spent the most time with even out of the 40 boys?
Most time with, honestly, is probably Will, the youngest. You know, I was in between Jake and Ben, played with both of them a little bit at 6'4", that's how I really got to know 40 as a coach and then as a life teammate. But then Will, I've actually had the opportunity to help him with catching as he's grown up and turned into the just specimen that he is on and off the field. And it's really cool to see the youngest probably one at the baddest and really get after it. Yeah,
that's how it goes. Sometimes we were talking about that with the last couple of guests. Freddie doesn't like when I bring up the same topics, but that's been a topic that I think it's real. The youngest watch their older brothers and they just
no doubt
they get after it. Now you're the oldest, so different for you, you know. But,
a little bit. But
still applies. No, love the 40s. You've done an outstanding job with Will, dude. You can see he's always been a big, strong kid as he's gotten older, but he's really started to slow the game down back there.
Yeah, it's special.
Clean up his
really
craft.
special.
I mean, Yale's got a good one coming to him next year, right?
There's no doubt.
They got a good one coming to them. So one more team to talk about, or one more year. You know, again, there's so many years we could build off there. We'll talk later about playing for Danny a couple times. We'll kind of circle back to that at the end, but 13U.
Yeah.
Can you quickly describe to everyone what happened? Because I know we have other people watching that have had similar scenarios of this, and you know, before you talk, I mean, I want to give a shout out to MJ Sasapin, if you remember that name at my age group. He had the same conversation when he was 12 or 11, and he was a Division I baseball player who had a great career. So talk about what was different about your 13U tryout, some of the phone calls you had, and how that maybe impacted you in the long run.
Yeah, played really well as a 12-year-old, but was just very small. Didn't really have the catching position knocked down yet. Wasn't defined as a baseball player, but just wanted to be out there, wanted to play. And, you know, Danny called me and he explained it exactly how it was. He said, look, we don't have enough guys for a third team, and that's where you would fall. He said, but I don't want you to leave. So I'm going to take you, but I can't promise you anything other than a spot on the roster and the opportunity to practice and work for it. And I didn't want to leave. This is where I wanted to be. So I took it and ran.
So it's literally like zero guaranteed playing time. You know, you might be at every practice and play 0 innings. Now, what happened when the season actually started?
Yeah, I mean, I just asked to be able to practice as much as possible, and I think I was here 3 or 4 days a week in the fall as a 13-year-old kid, and I can't thank my parents enough for being able to bring me here every single day. But whatever team was on the field, that's who I was practicing with that day. You know, in that fall, my 8th grade fall, I grew like 5 or 6 inches.
Right? Yeah, it came in.
Really started to swing the bat well, and then by the time that summer rolled around, I had the confidence and I had the effort and the ability to go play, but now I was a little bit more physically capable, and I think it all started to click.
You ended up being a key member of that team, didn't you? Like, come game time.
I think so.
Yeah, you play a lot. Yeah, and that's where I think a lot of people listening, it's such a powerful story, because nowadays, whether you know it or not, because I know you're so much in the training and lesson side, but like when we pick teams every year, there are these people out there, and I don't mean to say these people in a negative way, but like, hey, I need guaranteed time at this position, or my son has to know he's going to get at least this many at-bats. And of course, I appreciate the development piece of that. Hey, we need to get our reps to get better, because everybody needs to play to get better. But you know the game. You know what high school baseball is as a freshman on varsity. You know college Division I baseball. You know now pro baseball, where you look around and everybody is as good or better than you every single day. Do you think that was a big year just for your mindset of, hey, I have to go earn something and I get to go work?
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
It gave me the opportunity to work for something right before I went into high school. And then it was the same way in high school. It's like, you know, I didn't play at the best high school, but we were still pretty competitive when I was younger. But I had to earn the opportunity to get some at-bats and to get some playing time and all that stuff. You know, I don't think playing time is the most important thing at a young age. I think it's practice time. I really do.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's where the most reps are happening, right? The game's fun to track your results, see how you're doing, but you don't know who you're playing against some days, competition. I mean, you see guys that are here, like you said, that buy into that 6'4" mindset of, hey, once you play here, it's kind of that buffet. You can come out to practice once a week, or you can be out here 4 or 5 times a week. And we have guys like you that do it. And dude, you see the growth stack, right? I mean, it's that 1%. I mean,
absolutely. I think practice is depending on the environment, but if you can make a competitive, fiery practice where you're getting after it, you're going to get so much more out of that, because you can go play third base for an entire summer and you can only field 30, 40 ground balls, but you can do that in 10 minutes in practice. You know, if you practice and compete at the way you're going to play a game, you're going to get 40 to 50 game reps in a span of 10 to 15 minutes every single night.
It's just facts. It's great perspective. Outstanding perspective. So closing that out, and you might have just answered it, what you said. One thing that stood out to you, you know, playing here 9 to 13, we'll stick with those years. We're going to circle back to high school. One thing you noticed that was different from who you guys were playing against or like their programs. And it's not a diss to anybody else because, I mean, you remember your age group. It was loaded here. That's why part of that 13 trial was there were so many kids in the area trying out that were all really talented. Is there one thing, though, you think that stood out at the younger ages of playing here?
I think the field time here at 643 is probably the most important. Like, you know, we didn't probably spend the most time in the cages, but we were on the field every chance that we got, learning how to play the best defense, learning how to play the game properly. And realistically, that's where you spend most of the time is on the field. You're going to get 3-4 at-bats, but you're going to get 3 hours on defense or around the game in that aspect. So I never felt unprepared defensively on the bases. I always felt like I was one step ahead of the competition.
Thank you for that word from our amazing sponsors. So I love the perspective on the younger years here. I think it's something that, you know, Danny and Dave and Jay from the start, like really, you know, focused on that development. You see the word development everywhere, but it was really like developing younger ages, the practice piece, like you said, like that's where it's most important, all those reps. And no, I appreciate all the perspective you shared from, you know, where you're at. Cause I think a lot of people get caught up in the games, again, the results, PG, love PG, great partner, but some of that marketing kind of skew some of that. So I think everything you said there about just the holistic part of training practice is so valuable for anybody watching. I know that's why so many guys like to train with you, because that's kind of how you preach it and you've lived it, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's talk Sprayberry High School a little bit. Kind of what you just hit off, right? I mean, so many things here prepared you to go in as a freshman, and you know you weren't really worried. Maybe you were a little bit, you know, like you said, of playing with a Tucker Breen or guys like that. They were way older than you, but you know you were prepared early to go in and talk about. You know, I know you even told me the other day playing multiple positions at Sprayberry. Like, what all positions did you still play in high school?
Man, I think my freshman year I played second base on varsity. I think that was about it. Sophomore year it would be center field, right field, catcher, shortstop, second base, 2 innings on the mound. And then junior year, senior year, the exact same way.
What were your qualities you think that made you such a valuable piece as a freshman and sophomore? Was it, you know, the IQ piece, the confidence, you know, the Swiss Army knife that we just talked about? Like, do you think there was a certain thing that made the Sprayberry coaches go, ooh, I know that kid's only 13, but he can be in our lineup today?
Yeah, I think the game wasn't too fast for me. I had the ability to slow the game down. And then, again, the ability to just plug and play, fill in wherever. I was good enough to play second base. I could go track in right field. If you needed some extra innings behind the plate, like I could do it.
Yeah, and you're just always happy to do whatever, right? Like
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
you liked, like you've always said, you know, catching, but you know, what do you say to someone who's caught up? And I worked with a 9-year-old today who's a stud kid. He's a great athlete. He's going to be a baller, but he said, I'm a third baseman. And I said, well, let's work some middle today. I'm a third baseman. What would you say to that kid?
I would tell him there's a lot of third basemen. There's even more shortstops, and there's just as many second basemen. And as you get more physical and grow, all of those guys are now infielders in college. And you go to Kennesaw State, you go to Georgia, you go to Georgia Tech, they're recruiting 10 shortstops. And then from there, it's all right, how can we plug the rest of our infield? So just playing one infield position, I would say, is wrong.
You're hurting yourself, right? Like
You're
give
limiting
coaches
yourself.
and teammates options to get you on the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. And I personally just believe that when I play a different position, I'm seeing perspective that then is going to help me when I go back to my position. Like I know as a second baseman, I'm covering first on a bunt. So maybe as a 3B, I'm not looking up for the big 1B. I know there's a second baseman, you know, running and covering, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think practicing at different positions allows you to slow the game down because you can only be in one place at one time. But if you can practice from 4 different sets of points of view, then you have the ability to slow the game down. When you do have the tandem relay and now you're becoming a shortstop throwing the ball home, you've been there before. It doesn't speed up on you because you don't know exactly where to throw the ball in that instance. You've already played on the left side of infield.
No, that makes a ton of sense.
Same thing with all the outfield positions.
Yeah, just backing up bases, right? Where do I throw the baseball? You know, who am I throwing? Same stuff, right?
Exactly.
So what would you say? Would you say you watched a lot of baseball? I mean, obviously being out here, I'm sure you were hanging out in older team dugouts. Did you watch a lot of pro and college baseball in those middle school years?
No, I wouldn't say so. I would say in person, I got about as much baseball as anybody else. You know, I spent a ton of time at an indoor facility because I was super blessed to have the opportunity to just be around and catch guys that were much, much older than me, throw with guys that needed to throw, and I just spent probably entirely too much time, but I'm so thankful for it on the back end.
would you say for someone trying to dip their toes in there, or a parent who's like a little worried that their kid's not gonna be able to handle the older kids? And I mean, we know working with kids, sometimes there is a kid that's like, hey, come try this older practice. Oh, you know what? Maybe keep working on some stuff where you came out, it looks fast. But again, I know you said earlier of how valuable it was. What's your advice for getting into working with older kids? And, you know, because I think that's it. I keep hearing you say slow the game down, and that's got to be just from playing with people that are faster than you for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's like a health thing first. If your kid is physical and able enough to play at that next level, the exposure of him either failing or struggling just a little bit is going to be the best thing for him.
Mm-hmm. No, failure, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's stack on top of that now. That's an amazing one. We have people that are so worried about their stats and like what they're doing at the younger ages. And I know you already talked about the practice part of it, so it might be repeating that. But I mean, man, how important is failure, and how important was failure for you? Because now where you're at, I mean, it's just part of it, right? Failure is inevitable.
It's something you have to learn how to accept, but you more so have to learn how to manage it, because you're never not going to fail. You're just managing the failure and trying to use as much of it as possible to lead it to your next success. So how can the next strikeout help me? How can the next rollover help me? Whatever that may be. As a younger kid, it becomes almost pressure. And as a younger kid, you want to play pressure-free for as long as possible. At some point, it's going to catch up to you, but you just have to manage the ability to go have fun and to go play baseball as long as possible. I couldn't tell you a single average I had until probably my sophomore year of college. Truly. I know my dad always jokes about my freshman year of high school. I thought I hit like 400, and he told me I hit like 200, like 210. And I had no idea. Couldn't tell you what I hit to this day.
A lot of line outs, it sounds like. You hit the ball hard, focus on the right stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Playing defense, helping your team win.
Just excited to be out there, excited to play and get the opportunity.
Heat. Absolute heat. Man, I'm so glad you're coming out today to talk to us.
Appreciate it.
We got a lot more to dive into. So Sprayberry, let's kind of close that piece up. I know we haven't dipped too much into it, but got a lot of coaches here that were at Sprayberry. And I know some of them were near there, some weren't. We got Jamal Hawkins, who was a little older than you, who played at Sprayberry. We got Marshall Adams. We got Zach Williams. We got Tucker Breen. Who did you play with out of those?
All of them except Jamal. I got to watch Jamal play at Sprayberry because he graduated with my uncle. So I watched him as a real young kid play. Didn't know obviously too much because I was so little.
Yep.
But then I played with each Tucker, Marshall, and Zach.
Best teammate out of those three?
Man. Probably Zach. Spent the most time with him. Played with him here at 643 the most. We were super close. He was there for my first 3 years of high school. What a great mentor and leader at that time in my life.
Similar to you, he got to play varsity as a freshman. I know in Chavis, Michael Chavis was a senior when he was a freshman. He always talks about like that was huge for him slowing the game down. Getting to see a guy who was about to get drafted on that scale of like, okay, this is what he does every day, and I can play with this guy, so I can play with anybody.
Yep.
Kind of same with you as a freshman. You felt like that?
Yeah, I work out with Chavis every single day, and he's awesome. We always kind of joke around about it.
He's got great energy, man.
Yeah, I guess Chavis heard about me when I was in 8th grade, and he was a senior, and he was trying to get me to come play varsity as an 8th grader. But it just wasn't allowed. I found that story out this offseason. It was pretty funny.
That's cool.
But, Zach just kind of bridged the gap between him and I. And it was really cool to see Zach be as good of a two-way player as he was.
Absolutely. Zach's an absolute stud. I always tell people he's the most badass first baseman I ever played with. And
No doubt.
I had the yips a little bit, so I'd be spiking balls, and he saved me so much infield time by just picking things where everyone would forget that I made the bad throw. He's a wizard over there.
Probably one of the best first basemen I've still played with to this day defensively.
Facts. No, couldn't agree more. Is there one game that sticks out to you in all your career at Sprayberry where you feel like you played the most positions in one game that you can think back on?
I think we played a game at River Ridge where I started at shortstop, had an outfielder get hurt, so I played an inning there. I pitched an inning, and then after I was done pitching, I actually caught because we went into extra innings. So I caught the extra innings. So that's probably...
How fun was that?
Oh, it was great. I loved it.
You slept good that night, too.
Loved it, yeah.
Yeah, there's a constant of guys we have that are alumni that are playing, I feel like at the highest level, whether that's college or pros, that everything about baseball they seem to love. And I know there's days, and we'll talk about later, where we go through humps or, injuries and stuff that can set you back a little or frustrations, but I feel like you just have that natural enthusiasm and passion for the game, and that's got to be what keeps the fire burning when you go through a slump or an injury, right?
Absolutely. I think once you get past high school baseball, you have to eat, sleep, and breathe baseball to even have a chance at this point. College baseball is so competitive. Pro baseball is even more competitive. To maintain that edge and to maintain the opportunity, you have to eat, sleep, and breathe baseball.
That's a perfect bridge to what I want to ask you about next. Playing at Kennesaw State, local school. Your uncle played there as well, right? Back in the day. So that was a really cool connection for you. Talk about that experience. What do you remember the most about, your recruiting of like what made you pick Kennesaw? I'm guessing that was a piece of it. And then, early on, when did you realize like, wow, this is every day and I'm breathing it?
Yeah, I mean, it's where I wanted to go from a young kid. Watching my uncle play there was super cool. I got to watch him pitch in some really big games against some really important players. So growing up, going to those games in the stands, and then going there on my visit, I was immediately like, wow, this is just where I want to be. I had a few other opportunities and some interest even at some bigger schools, but it just came down to I wanted the chance to play. I felt like that was where I was going to have the best opportunity, and I took it and ran with it.
No doubt. Yeah, you got to play all 3 years there?
Yeah. Sophomore year was COVID, so we only got to play 12, 14 games, whatever it was.
Save your legs a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So what was the biggest difference you noticed of like, okay, I played the highest level travel ball, like you guys 17U team with Max and Buddy and Danny. I know you guys were top 10 team in the country at every arm I can think of in the area. Yep. What was the biggest difference of getting to college and looking around?
It's the physicality standpoint. Your first time you're ever playing against like grown men. Mm-hmm. And then after you kind of get over that hump, it's the pace of play where practice is now even more competitive because you feel like you're fighting for an opportunity. There cannot be any complacency.
So it's just that every day I have to be on, and if I don't have my best stuff, like I still gotta.
You just have to show up and give 100% effort. It's not always about results, but if you're not giving effort on a college ball field, they're not gonna invest the time or the playing time into you.
Do you have a favorite memory from Kennesaw State?
Oh man, it would have to be junior year. That was the most fun I had. We went on a crazy run after a lot of guys got COVID, couldn't play. We were down to 2 or 3 extra position players, and we went and won like 4 or 5 straight, and we had no business doing it with about half the team in college baseball. Mm-hmm. That year after COVID was crazy because of all the limitations and the COVID testing that had to be done. Mm-hmm. So we kind of had our backs up against the wall. We even had position players having to get time on the mound for the first time in 2 years, and we just went on a tear.
You're like, not me though. No,
not
me.
Absolutely not.
I do not have that in my bag for you guys. Yeah. Is there anything of playing here that mimicked college baseball practice? I know you said more intense, more effort every day, but was there anything here that you're like you're at college going, ooh, like I see other guys struggling with this. We did that with Danny since I was 10 years old. Like,
man, as crazy as it seems, like first and thirds, bunt defenses, and just positional defense seemed way harder to some people than I thought it should have been. Like I felt so prepared defensively in multiple positions when I stepped foot on campus, and I didn't expect to feel that prepared.
So that could be the drawback of the showcase world, as some people say. Like there's some guys that have tools out the wazoo, but they don't know when to cover a base, where I'm supposed to be, how do I move a runner? Mm-hmm. Like how much does that show up in everyday college baseball? Yeah,
if you're what I would consider doing your job every single day in practice, but then also in your scrimmages and your inner squads, and you look the part, like you look like you belong on the team, it doesn't go unnoticed. Mm-hmm. There's some players that are uber talented, but then they may not seem to fit in because they don't know how to become a teammate and how to help a black and gold team win, whether you're on one side or not in college. And that's what we always played, is black and gold series. Right. But if you can't help that team win, how are you going to help the team in the spring win?
How do I help the team win? Seems like the more of these we record, the best guys, that comes up every time, numerous times. How do I help the team win? And how much does trying to help the team win help you usually? So
I think if you're winning, you're having fun. And if you're having fun playing baseball, you're getting better. To keep it as simple as possible. Mm-hmm. When you put the focus on how can I put the pitching staff first, my teammates first, the team over the other team, how can you win the most baseball games? You're going to have fun while doing it. And then if you're having fun and you're winning, it's really hard to not get better.
That's it. Did you ever play with Cash Young at Kennesaw?
I didn't. I
missed him.
He was
a year after?
Good friend, but I missed him.
Yeah, because he would talk about, playing at Kennesaw. He had a bunch of home runs that year he was there.
Yeah,
I think
he did.
He might have even tied a record or helped set a record. One of the years that got beat quickly after.
Broken.
Yeah, by was it Donovan that beat it right after him?
Donnie Barrels. Yeah.
Shout out to those guys, freaking mashers. They had that. They had some energy going at Kennesaw that year. But he would tell me how he actually came to a 14-hole practice and told this to my team. And I saw it shift the perspective. This was Will Forty's team, Jack Reese, Sander Pavlitucci, right. So some kids that are just great team players. And he said, guys, look at this video. And it's a video of him going oppo bomb, like crush it. Like, oh, that's awesome. He's like, but you know what I was trying to do in that at bat? I'm like, what? He's like, there's a runner on second with nobody out, and I had 2 strikes. I was trying to hit the ball to second base.
Absolutely.
And to me, it's just like there's so many ways you hear of that of the elite players. I'm just trying to move a runner. I'm trying to shorten up with 2 strikes, and all of a sudden, bam, helps the team. And of course, it does help me. But if you're just focused on you, I don't think that happens, right? I think you can lose sight of that so easy if you're just focused on what can I do to help me here.
Yeah, I think my perspective on that, I had a hit and run homer in college, like choked up, 1-1 count, trying to hit a line drive through the infield, and it goes over the batter's eye. And it's like, I wasn't trying to hit a homer. I'm trying to get this guy not thrown out at second and hopefully get him to third. And that's what it turns into.
That's what makes the game so fun. Is playing for your teammates, playing to win. As a coach, I love seeing my teams that like love playing for each other. And like one guy does something and everyone's excited in the dugout. Everyone's going nuts. Like that's what it's all about for sure. That's the stuff you remember too, I think. And I know you're gonna have so many memories to look back on. Your career is really just getting started. There's so much more ahead. But those teammates, those good fun wins together, like that's what you remember. Like I love hearing you say, you know, I don't really remember my stats, but I remember being on some really good teams of really good guys and having fun playing the game.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. Talk about the draft stuff, right? So junior year was that 2021 draft?
2021.
Right. Yeah. So talk about, you know, was there a moment when you realized, okay, this is real, this is happening, or was it just that, you know, continuous work and people were calling you? Like, you know, talk a little bit about the draft perspective.
Yeah, I think when it got real, I was actually on my first vacation in like 5 years before I ever went to college. Like I didn't really have a vacation. I just played baseball for 4 or 5 years straight. And then I got a call from my advisor at the time that the Braves wanted to do a workout at Truist Park and that I needed to, you know, get ready for that. So I came home, got ready for it, had a workout like 2 days later, and this is probably a week before the draft. You know, just same thing. I went and played left field at Truist, threw some balls home, no infield, but got to catch, threw down, and then got to hit some BP. And then I caught one bullpen, and I was like, man, even if I don't get drafted, like I've played on a professional ball field at a place where I've gone to watch as a fan from about every section. And that was like, man, this is awesome. And then a week later, getting my name called by that same organization was probably the greatest feeling ever.
Surreal, right? I saw your eyes dilate immediately when we started talking about that first workout. So I know how
I'll
much it
never
meant to you
forget
and
that
how cool it was, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so I feel like, you know, so there's got to be so few guys out there in any sport that got to play at their hometown, one of the hometown colleges, and play for the hometown team. I mean, what a cool group of people you're probably in. I don't even know. We'd have to run the research on that on the backside, but it's crazy.
You know, I never expected or planned or wanted it to be that way, but the opportunity to play baseball in Metro Atlanta as long as I have is just, it's such a blessing. There's no other way to put it. It really is.
No doubt. No, so cool watching you. So it makes us proud, like not proud of you, just proud to be guys that know you and that played with you and like got to watch you a couple years younger than me, just always be that grinder, gritty competitor. And it just makes sense while you're still playing. I can't explain it. I
appreciate it.
It just makes sense. So can't wait to keep watching it. So let's talk pro ball with that, right? Like we talk about the switch, the physicality piece from, you know, high school to college. I feel like you're going to talk about this a little bit when we go to pro, but what was the biggest switch from college to pro? What do you notice? What changed the most?
Man, it's not so much physicality once you get college to pro because college baseball players are very physical.
Everyone's physical now.
Right. Yeah. I was super strong in college, probably the strongest I've ever been my junior year of college. So it wasn't a physical change, but it was, all right, every single guy that pitches can throw 95 to 100. Every single catcher can hit a homer 450 feet. Every single position player runs a 6'4", 60. It's what is going to separate me from the guy to my left, guy to my right, or the guys on the other team. You know, you're not just playing for your org, you're playing for all 30 orgs at all times. So you have to figure out what it's going to take to get you to the next level. And it's usually between the years.
And is that for you? Is that your edge, you think, compared to a lot of guys you play with? It's not a diss on anybody else. Like, what is your piece of that? Is it the mental side?
Yeah, I think being able to stay even-keeled, not allowing the game to get too large, and then, you know, when it's struggle, or also when it's going so well, just being able to stay as level-headed as possible. Showing up to the field every day, the same guy, regardless of what happened the night before. It's hard, but I think it's something that has to happen if you want to continue to play for a long time.
Consistency piece, right?
Absolutely.
That's the name of the game in baseball, consistency.
Yep.
Right?
There's no doubt.
What's your best hot streak in pro ball, whether that's catching, hitting? Is there a streak where you're like, dude, the ball looks like a beach ball, or I'm catching this out of the ball?
Yeah, I've gone through a couple different phases. In 22, we went to the All-Star break, and I wasn't swinging the best. It was just okay, not hitting for a lot of power, and I wasn't seeing the ball as well as I wanted to. I went to like a toe tap and BP and just started hitting moonshots. And then I went from the All-Star break almost through the end of the regular season. I think I hit like 10 homers in one half and just tore the cover off the ball. And then in 24, it was almost the same thing, right? You know, I got hurt. That's what ended my season in 24. But the last like month and a half, ball looked great, felt healthy, really good swing, going back to what I wanted to do, and was just killing it.
Yeah, that's sick. It's got to feel awesome when that's happening. You just try to stay humble and stay consistent through that, right? Like focus on the next day, I'm guessing, one pitch at a time still.
Yeah, just trying to get back to even keel after every single night. It's like, all right, I went 2 for 4, 3 for 4 tonight, threw a couple guys out. We won, most importantly, maybe threw a shutout, whatever it may be. But all right, we got to do it again tomorrow. So finding that reset ability.
Reset. Yes. So let's say, we got a 9-year-old dad or a 13-year-old player who's like, man, I went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. I'm terrible. I need to quit. Did you have a lowest low in pro ball where you're like, wow, this is.
I probably haven't had just one. I've had, a lot of them. I mean, I've been 0 for 30 before. So if I were to quit after 4, it may feel better for the next 26 at bats, but I still have the opportunity to keep going. So that's the coolest part. And the best part about baseball is you go for 4. At 9 years old, you got a game in like 20 minutes because you're probably playing another one.
Danny's like, hey, football, we got to wait a week. Good news is we just got our butts kicked. We get to play again in like an hour. So go get a bite to eat and come right back.
It's a sour feeling when you're young because it's like, man, I don't want to play. But I would go back to 9 years old in a heartbeat to play 2 games in a row, to not feel it physically, and to just have fun.
Is it the same focus, though, when you're in that little rut? Like, I've heard a lot of like Steve Springer, one of my favorite hitting coaches, Quality at Bats. I'm sure you've seen some of his stuff over the years. Like he always talks about, the best way to not be in a slump is don't call it a slump. Like you're the only one who thinks it's a slump. Focus on the next pitch. Like, is it that even keel piece again? Like, how do you get out of that rut and just stay on?
It's navigating what's breaking you down, whether it's between the ears first, and then from there, are you swinging at good pitches? And then if you're not swinging at good pitches, that should be the end of the conversation. Mm-hmm. You go train swinging at good pitches first, and then go test the theory out. You're problem solving, but you're not doing it in an aspect of panicking. And that's where I've fallen down the rabbit hole. When you start panicking at the plate is when it does become a slump. But you can be struggling without slumping 100%.
Mm-hmm. Ted Williams' Science of Hitting, one of my favorite parts of that book is the best hitters hit strikes and take balls. Right?
Yeah.
You walk a lot when you're doing good too, I'm sure, right? It's seeing the baseball.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to play with some unbelievable baseball players pretty much at every level. And it's so funny to listen to what they think about because it's totally different from what you're thinking about when you're struggling or even when you're going good.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's got that little different perspective, but it all is valuable to hear because it kind of makes you, okay, maybe I could use that one time when I'm in
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Yep. How much is that like baseball fraternity real? Ryan Webb talked about that a lot when he was on about just, when big leaguers are down in the minors, they're usually super receptive, super open-minded to feedback, but more so also giving feedback to you on like, hey, this is where you could keep getting better. Like, do you feel
Absolutely.
that with the Braves?
Yeah. Especially the Braves are unbelievable because they bring in good ball players, but better people. I mean, I had the opportunity to go to big league camp, and every single catcher, position player, pitcher that was there, they wanted to see you join the team in the big leagues. And it was super cool to be around such knowledgeable baseball players that were just willing to be an open book and help out in any way possible.
I love it. That's the game within the game always. That's back to that teammates piece, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you're going to remember. So, and now as a coach, you've coached. When did you first coach? Was it even like in college ball or in high school? Like when did you start fiddling around with coaching a little bit? I feel like you've always just been super natural with it though.
Gave a few lessons in high school, a little bit over COVID. Really once I got into pro ball though, in the off season, I had some more time on my hands, wanted to give back. I feel like if I can teach it, I start to learn it better myself. So I enjoy coaching, catching, and then also hitting.
That's one of my questions was there one thing you learned the most when you started coaching that then helped you with a player like pretty quick? Because Jared Miller used to talk to me about that when he was back in the summer from Notre Dame. Again, Ryan Webb, another shout out, even Zach a couple of those summers, or Matt Lazaro. They're like, dude, like I'm coaching this kid on the thing, and in the middle of coaching, I'm going, wait a minute, I actually could probably use that too. Or
I realized I was coaching hitting wrong and incorrectly because these kids, they were getting better because they were getting older, more physical, but their approach, ability to compete was not changing and evolving. And I started shifting my lessons to what can we do to get us to compete in the best spot? Because we're going to have different swings. We're going to have different pitchers on the mound, different pitches to hit. But if I can practice my ability to compete, I'll always have that.
Yeah, you're an elite coach. Like you really are. I know you're an elite player, but you're an elite coach because what I've seen is that you don't treat every kid the same. Like there's cookie cutter coaches out there, but you're really good at like, all right, I'm going to watch this kid for a second. I'm going to ask him some questions, and I'm going to help figure him out. Is that an approach you take with all ages? Is that just what I've seen with older ages?
every single baseball player. You know, I made sure that if I was going to coach, I was going to do it for the right reasons, and it's never for the best me. Like, I never coach for a selfish reason. I want to coach to give back to the player and give him everything that I can. I want to get kind of inside their brain and pick their brain a little bit, see how their wheels are turning, because they may be thinking about something totally different, or they might be trying to do something totally different than what I thought was going on.
What do you say to a young coach or an old coach? I'm not saying they're out here because I think we're pretty solid here, but I'm sure there's guys that do this out here. And I know I've been a victim to it on days before, that just wants to kind of, complain about this kid sucks or he can't figure it out versus, how important is it to that guy to figure out, like, dude, you got to work on it. Like,
I take it personally. I think if I'm coaching a kid and I don't see him evolving, getting better, or having more fun, I take it personal as I'm like doing this kid a disfavor. Mm-hmm. I run a catching camp where I've got probably 40 guys, and I want to make sure, one, that every single kid is enjoying their time out there and having fun, but that two, they're learning something every single session. And if they're struggling to think about what they're learning, I want to make sure that I can change that for the next session.
So every kid's, there's a way to figure it out. You just got to figure out what makes them tick, right?
Yeah, you got to figure out where their pulse and what they enjoy the most, where that comes from. And then from there, I mean, it may not be catching. There's guys at my catching camp that I talk about hitting with all the time, or video games, whatever it is. I just want them to have fun, but then also take something, so it's not a waste of their time.
And you're building trust there. Like, that's the key hiding in that too, is you're building trust with those guys of, okay, this coach cares about me as a kid. Like, obviously he wants to help me as a baseball player and a catcher, but he's asking about video games or school or what I'm doing for dinner. Like, that shows that you care, and I'm sure that's then why they trust you and want to listen to you of what you have to say. They know you're just not there for, just the baseball part, right?
Absolutely. I think the best coaches I've ever had cared about me more as a person than they did a player. So I try to resemble that and coach the same way.
You definitely emulate that. And Nick Saban, right? Legendary coach. Obviously, everyone watching knows who that is. I heard a quote of him that really impacted me as a coach. It was around that COVID time, too, where, we're all shut down. We can't do anything. I'm reading a lot of books. And he had a quote or an interview, or I can't remember exactly where I saw it the first time. I know I've seen it in his book and in interviews of him, but he's talking about how when he first coached in college, if a kid wasn't, listening to him or couldn't handle his coaching, he would kind of write him off. Then he went to coach in the pros, and they go, no. Like, you don't like coaching that DB? We're paying that DB $3 million. You need to figure it out. And he said it was so big for him when he went back to Alabama, and it was his secret sauce of, I might need to yell at Tyler Tolve, but I need to put an arm around, Buddy Floyd and bring him in and see what ticks for him. Like, I just think so many guys are, like, stuck in that this is how I coach versus, what's a coach's job, right? It's to make them have fun and make them get better and make them want to come back and do it again. Right?
Absolutely. I think even not so much in football, maybe it is, but even in baseball programs, every single team is going to have a different identity, whether it's at the youth level, at the college level, or even at the pro level. The Dodgers have won the World Series back-to-back years, and they do it in different ways every single year because they're not coached the same. They take whatever roster they have when it comes playoff time, and they figure out how to win with that bunch. If a manager or a coach is not able to formulate and build relationships with his players and then figure out what makes that team tick, what that heartbeat is, and for them to win, they're not going to be as successful as they probably could be.
Do you see yourself coaching one day after you play in the major leagues for a dozen years or so? Do you see that in your future, or you don't know yet? It's too early to tell. Obviously, you're really naturally good at it again.
I would love to coach. I don't know in what aspect or how or what level, but I definitely will stay around the game and just try to give back as much as possible.
On a more lesser side of coaching, I don't mean lesser, it's still important. Is there a favorite drill for catchers or hitters, or favorite couple things you like to work on right now for those watching, that if they have a young catcher or a young hitter that you think is important? I know you ran 2 outstanding clinics, catching last week with Levi Clark and Carson Vick, and then I was able to help you with a really good hitting clinic, right, where you're giving some great tips to younger guys, some middle school guys. But is there any couple things that you feel like are really applicable for all ages?
Yeah, catching is interesting because it's a very unique time where almost every catcher is transitioning to a one knee down setup, but they don't understand why they're doing it. They see it on TV. They see college coaches telling them to do it.
Instagram Reels is saying,
Instagram
do
Reels,
this,
whatever
right?
it is, but they don't know why.
Yeah.
So helping kids understand why they're doing it, because I do think it is the best way to catch. Saves the body, puts them in a more athletic position. Their hip height is lower. Their gloves able to get lower to the ground. They're getting on plane with their eyes so much better, able to block, transition to a throw. There's so many reasons that it's a benefit, but they don't understand why. And when they don't understand why they're doing it, they end up doing it just because, and it becomes almost lackadaisical and not with the same effort or attention to detail that they did with 2 feet. So when I am doing these catching clinics, I work on my stances a ton because I want kids to understand why we get into a position like this, and then also figure out what position is best for each kid, because not each kid moves the same. So a kickstand may not be as beneficial to one kid, and it may be the best thing for another. So figuring out what stance it is that gets the kid most athletic and ready to handle anything behind the plate.
That makes sense. It goes back to you don't cookie cut. Like, you know that this is probably the best for that right athlete as they're growing and learning their body, but for every kid, it might be playing with different stuff at different levels. What about hitting side? Is there anything you think that is applicable, whether it's, I know the mind is big, so it could be that even, but is there any drill or thing you like that you think, man, all levels I see this help hitters that I work with?
If I could break hitting down into a few key standpoints, it would just be understanding what the gather or the load is meant for. There's a lot of kids that just put their foot down and swing.
Right.
And it leads to spinning off. It leads to a whole long list of things. But understanding what the gather and load is truly for, and then understanding that we have to swing fast and we have to swing instantly. When our front foot hits the ground, it's time to go. And off-speed pitches will allow us or give us more time to hit, not less time. So we need to be ready for the fastball, on time for the fastball, and then adjust when the non-fastballs come in. And that happens throughout the load process because we're able to use our eyes best when we're in the air and when we're loading our body.
Yeah, I watched you firsthand. I'm taking kids and I'm not able to get them to stay on the ball, and they're sliding into your cage, and you're cleaning up their load, and all of a sudden, boom, we're staying on the baseball. We're hitting the ball the other way. Or, ooh, you're flipping it slow, and they're still in the zone. So I think that start, people just kind of discount so much that the start creates the finish, right? Like problem B is because of what happened with A over here.
It's like building the foundation of the house. You know, you have to build the foundation, and then everything else comes together nicely. When kids have freedom and less restraint with their swing, they're able to be so athletic. And most of these kids are athletic when they're young, even into college. But you have to have a good foundation, and then you have to have the freedom to allow that athleticism to take over.
So many people listening, hopefully, or probably, or not hopefully, they're definitely rewinding and watching the last 5 minutes, because you just broke down such big parts of catching and hitting that are really simple, but you just have such a good way of explaining it and breaking it down. And I think, again, it's that understanding piece, right? If people see stuff, but it's so much more important to understand why you're doing something. And then when you train, you know what to look for and how to correct it, how to make adjustments. If you're filming it, now you can go break it down. So I think really cool what you said. I love how these podcasts work where accidentally transition words come in that are great. You use the word foundation a couple of times right there.
Right.
Love to close out here talking about, you know, you've been kind enough, and, you know, your leadership has really stood out the last couple of years. And just what you said earlier about you're a great baseball player, but such an amazing person and such a huge part of the community in the metro Atlanta area of baseball and just, again, life. You've teamed up with our foundation at 643 the last couple of years and ran an awesome event, Crushn for a Cause Home Run Derby, had a bunch of pro guys in town. Last year there was a high school level event that we did as well. This year there's going to be a middle school event.
Yep.
Talk a second for those that don't know about it. We'll have some graphics going during this where they can see it, but talk about, you know, what's coming up January 31st, Crushn for a Cause, and, you know, what is that exactly?
Yeah, Crushn for a Cause is near and dear to my heart. It's awesome. You know, it started because I saw Crushn for Carson, and I was here as a 16, 17-year-old kid, and it was so moving because I got to see it as a player. And then fast forward 7-8 years, I was like, man, I want to instill that again and find a way to plant some seeds, to grow some trees in that aspect of life, because baseball is so much more important, or life is so much more important than baseball, you know? And, you know, my dad has battled blood cancer now off and on for, 8 years off and on, and he's doing great, and I'm so happy for it. But if I have the opportunity to make someone else's day, or to raise money to potentially find a cure or create a better lifestyle for somebody, why would I not do that? And so that's where it started. It started as, okay, what's going to be the most impactful way to do this? And I found out that it was going to be through 643 and through a home run derby, raising money for blood cancer research. And it's just been a huge blessing. I have a good Rolodex of players, coaches, teammates that have all been so great to say, yeah, absolutely, this sounds awesome. Let me sign a bat. How can I help out? Would love to come hit. Would love to help set up, break down, whatever it may be. It's not just me. I'm very blessed and thankful that I'm a part of the process of what happens.
We're super grateful because there's so many places around you could host this and do it, and we're just extremely, extremely grateful that you've, picked us to help you do this and help you make this magical day that's been the last couple of years happen. And I think year 2 is better than year 1, and I know year 3 is going to be even better just because you just keep doing more and bringing in more guys, and guys donate different stuff, or we get more sponsors involved. So is there a favorite moment or two you have so far from the last couple of years that you remember of like, wow, this is amazing?
Man, the first pitches are always probably the coolest because it's the first time I get to kind of step back and be a fan. I help set up all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes is finally over with, and now we get to enjoy the moment. And that first pitch is kind of when it all sets in, and then after that, you get to address the crowd. Luke Berryhill was unbelievable last year with the national anthem.
Absolutely killed it. Yeah.
It was phenomenal. And then he actually led off and, hit a bunch of homers. Stuff like that is, it's rare to have something like that happen. But those are probably some pretty favorable moments.
Yeah, no doubt. Is there any? I mean, no. He was unreal. Like I've known Luke playing against him since we were younger. I had no idea he had pipes like that, dude. He crushed it. Yeah, he was smooth. Is he coming back this year for it, or do we know?
Hopefully. Penciled in, but as his life's getting really crazy right now.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get him out here. That's for
Maybe
sure.
we get Freddy on the mic. If not, Freddy, you got some pipes back there? Yeah. No, Freddy's tired. It's been a long week. We got a couple more to film this week. Staying on task here. What are you most excited for this coming year? Is there anything different or a twist that we need to know about that we can let people know?
I think the middle school derby is going to be awesome.
Right.
We've got a lot of different organizations coming out this year. That'll be different than last year because last year we were trying to use the high school realm, but high school is just so busy ramping up.
It's in that season, right? It's just tough with practices.
Yeah, the middle school derby is going to be great because different organizations are going to come here, and we're going to show that it's not just about 643. It's about baseball, and then ultimately it's about giving back. So I'm really excited for that portion of the derby.
For sure. Is there any way you could let people know watch right now? Like I know, again, we're going to post a bunch of graphics. Mary's got stuff. Mary Littman, shout out to Mary Littman, head of our foundation, doing a great job with helping you out that the last couple of years. Is there any way people now at home can help in the short term or just, right now, is it show up on the 31st and bring a lot of energy?
Yeah, that would be the most important.
Yeah.
A ticket on the 31st, coming out, enjoying hopefully the beautiful day, the beautiful weather.
It will be.
Absolutely. But then also any support, whether it's a donation, buying a T-shirt, buying a hoodie, using the online raffle, or that'd be the best way.
Yeah, can't wait, man. I've loved being a part of it, getting to help out. I think this year there's some rumors I might be on the mic behind the plate. So
that's right.
I mean, my energy is going to be up. Like
that's right.
We're turning this place up. Get all my bad words out of the way. I want to have a censor here. Not that I use bad words, but
There we go.
We'll keep it clean. A lot of fun. But seriously, cannot wait, and super grateful we're doing it again.
Absolutely.
You cool with a little speed round here to close this out?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. To be fair, Tyler did get a little peek of the speed round. I think I give guys the look of what we're talking about. And a lot of them get sped up a little bit. But, I mean, you've heard him say it tonight, folks. This guy slows the game down, and that's baseball, and that's life. So he's ready to answer these questions. I'm going to throw in a couple twists, too, since you got that look. Let's go. Favorite ballpark you've ever played at any level?
Oh, man. Biloxi, Mississippi, playing the Shuckers.
Dirty. Go-to post-game meal.
Dos Bros.
I've heard that recently. Where is that? Oh, is that in Knoxville? Or
Dos Bros is great.
Dude, I haven't been there.
Crushes Chipotle.
Really? Yeah. Have you been to La Suprema Bakery over here?
Had it before this podcast.
Dos Bros is still better.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Shout out La Suprema Bakery. We love you guys. You guys do a great job. Pro you model your professionalism after, or like a guy you've interacted with or just watched on TV that you're like, and I know it's you. You're you, but is there anyone?
Man, that's a good one. Closely, I watched Ryan Castile handle himself very, very well. He played pro ball for 10, 12 years, last 3 or 4 seasons with the Braves, and now he's coaching professionally. But what a teammate. He goes about it the right way. Every single guy in the locker room loves him. He really opened my eyes with how to handle yourself and that it's not about you, but how can you help the team win, even if you're hurt, even if you're not playing, on the development list, whatever it may be.
Fire. Shout out Ryan Castile. Walk-up song this year.
Oh, man. Hadn't even thought about it.
What was it last year?
Actually, hold on. My dad wants me to do, oh, goodness. It's a heavy metal song, and I'm going to do it for him this year, and I can't remember what it's called right now.
What was it last year? Do you remember what you had last year?
I don't. I think my best one ever is probably Ice Cream Paint Job in 2022.
That's solid.
I haven't been able to top that one yet.
That's solid. Favorite Kennesaw State memory?
Favorite? It'd probably be the Iron Owl. Outside of the baseball field, working out and training with the team. We had a blast in the Iron Owl. It's not around anymore. No one's going to beat my records, but that's pretty good.
Yep. Last piece here. Favorite 643 memory?
Man, it's hard to beat winning Cooperstown. really hard to beat winning Cooperstown. Yeah, it would have to be Cooperstown. Truly.
Yeah, it's dirty. It's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. We didn't even mean to do that. Look at that. See, sometimes you accidentally get a fire hydrant, but you accidentally also get something that gets shouted out twice. It's trust in the process. Is there a teammate or two you remember here the most that you want to shout out? Any age, any level?
Man. Carson Taylor's hanging around. He needs to get on this podcast if he hasn't.
He's coming.
Yeah. From 643. I mean, I played with Zach Williams about as much as anybody, so that'd probably be my next best guess.
That's solid. Last one. Anything about the game, and I think I'm going to ask you this in one of the clinics, and I think it was more about the hitting side, but anything about the game that you feel like is the same as when you first started playing baseball? You're like, wow, there's all these new intricacies and little details, but this has always been the same.
When you focus on having fun, that's when you're going to play the best version of baseball with no matter the age. Whether you're 9, 13, 15, 18, 25, if you focus on having fun, going about the game the right way, you're going to get rewarded and you're going to play the best baseball you can.
Heck yeah. Have fun, compete, dude. Everything else takes care of itself, right? That's
right.
Amazing. That's amazing. All right. So what we do to close out usually is, try to relate something to, again, a viewer at home, usually a kid. We try to relate to like something they could be going through. With you, it's kind of unique. And then I want to go back to that practice player role story of the 13U year.
Yep.
So pretend there's a kid like that. Maybe they didn't even get that opportunity. Maybe they just didn't make a team here even, right? They're not quite where they want to be. They're good even, but maybe it's the physical, whatever it is, right? They're not quite where they want to be at 13, and they could easily stay the course and work their butt off, or they could quit and go do something else and never reach that potential that, you got to even start reaching in that short time of just trusting yourself. What is your message to 13-year-old you / that kid at home? Look into that camera and let them know.
Yeah, I mean, in 5th grade, I wrote to my future self that I wanted to play at 643. I wanted to play at Kennesaw State University and then eventually the Atlanta Braves. And I found that after my senior year of high school and was like, all right, I'm 2/3 of the way there, and now I have to keep going. So it's just a matter of keep going no matter what happens. I wasn't the best baseball player almost on any team that I played on, and now I'm out playing, most of the guys that I'm with because I've continued to play the game the right way, and I've continued to give 100% effort every single day.
Man, thank you so much for coming on to do this. I know
Absolutely.
you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on, man. There's so many things that you could be doing in an off season. We love how much time we've got to spend with you at the facility. I know we still got plenty more days in the cages.
Yep.
Maybe even tomorrow, later today. So, man, where can these guys find you at home? If they want to check you out on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that.
Yeah, on Instagram, I think it's tyler.tolve. So if you want to give me a follow, shoot me a DM, ask me anything baseball related, would love to help out.
Class of 2018, that's going to be a tough episode to beat. Tyler Tolve, Kennesaw State, Atlanta Braves, truly a face of the 643 organization. So blessed to have him around still, and cannot wait to watch him keep grinding on his journey, make the bigs here soon. And man, just again, can't thank you enough for coming, but I know we got so much more in store. Crushn for a cause. Go check it out, guys. Follow us on Instagram, official ETJ pod. Sorry, that's on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, EmbraceTheJourney 643. I'm Jake Pralgo. This is Tyler Tolve, and we'll see you guys soon.
See ya.
Let's go.